Today, we're going to unpack the incredible story of Emirates, an airline that was literally born from a conflict and then went on to conquer the globe. It's really a masterclass in strategy and how to turn a rival's biggest threat into a world-changing opportunity.
I mean, just imagine this for a second. You're building a business, and your main competitor, the biggest player in the whole game, suddenly tries to shut you down completely.
For most people, that would be it. Game over. But for Dubai, that was just the beginning. This is the amazing story of how one rival's power play didn't just fail to cripple Dubai. It accidentally created one of the most powerful airlines in history.
So how in the world did this all get started? Well, to really understand Emirates, we've got to rewind the clock, because Dubai's entire future in aviation was once built on a surprisingly small and very specific amount of cash.
440. Back in 1937, that's how many rupees we're talking, just a few $100 a month today. British Imperial Airways paid to use Dubai as a seaplane base. Even way back then, its perfect spot at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa was obvious. It was just this tiny seed of a massive, massive idea. Now, Dubai's ruler, Sheikh Rashid, he was a visionary. He knew the country's oil wasn't going to last forever. He needed another plan. So he invested, and invested heavily, in turning that little seaplane base into a real airport. And the growth, it was just explosive. From a runway made of compressed sand in 1960 to a major international hub by 1980, pulling in traffic that used to go everywhere else. And you better believe all this success did not go unnoticed. The region's big dog, the dominant airline Gulf Air, saw Dubai's rising star and decided it was time to make a move. A move that would, without them even knowing it, change aviation history forever. So Gulf Air went to Sheikh Mohammed, who was Dubai's defense minister at the time, with the proposition. They basically said, look, make us your exclusive official airline and we'll cut you in. But Sheikh Mohammed said no. He was totally committed to keeping Dubai's skies open for competition.
Well, Gulf Air was not happy about that. As payback, they retaliated by cutting off all of their flights to Dubai. This was supposed to be a massive blow, right? Designed to isolate the airport and force them to give in. But they miscalculated, big time. They didn't create a problem, they created a vacuum.
So, faced with this crisis, Sheikh Mohammed didn't back down. He did something incredibly bold. He decided to start his own airline from scratch. A $10 million gamble against the giants already ruling the skies. And the plan was, frankly, genius. Building a new airline from the ground up would normally cost something like $70 million and take years. But Sheikh Mohammed found a shortcut, a massive one. He turned to Pakistan International Airlines for help. PIA agreed to wet lease them 2 Boeing 737s. And that wet lease part is absolutely crucial. It means the planes came fully loaded with pilots, crew, and engineers. It was instant expertise for just $10 million. Basically an airline in a box, ready to fly almost overnight.
And did the gamble pay off? Oh yeah, big time. Emirates' first flight took off in October 1985. In its very first year, it served 260,000 passengers and, believe it or not, made back its entire $10 million investment. Profitable from day one.
Okay, so a brilliant launch is one thing, right? But sustained global dominance? That's a whole other ballgame. And it didn't happen by accident. Emirates' long-term success was built on a series of killer strategies that just set it apart from everyone else. So, fast forward just a few years after launch, and the Gulf War breaks out. While pretty much every other international airline pulled out of the region, Emirates kept flying. This was an incredibly brave move that earned them immense loyalty and introduced thousands of new passengers to their amazing service when they had literally no other choice. Next up, they absolutely perfected the hub-and-spoke model. Using Dubai's perfect geographic location as the central hub, they could connect passengers between continents, often with just a single, seamless stopover. And the power of this model was just incredible. First, because the hub was their own airport, they paid 0 fees to rivals. Second, all those passengers stopping over? A huge boost for Dubai's tourism. And third, they saved millions on fuel since the planes on those shorter spoke routes could fly lighter and way more efficiently. But maybe the most fascinating strategy of all is how they managed to tame the absolute beast of the skies, the Airbus A380. This super jumbo jet is famously unprofitable for pretty much every airline that flies it, except for Emirates. So how on earth do they pull it off? The secret wasn't some kind of magic trick. It was a super disciplined formula that was all about one thing: using massive scale to get unmatched efficiency. This was a strategy that other airlines, with their smaller, more diverse fleets, simply couldn't copy.
Okay, first they went all in. They ordered over 100 A380s, which let them negotiate huge bulk discounts. Second, by standardizing on just that one super jumbo model, their spare parts, their pilot training, their maintenance, everything became incredibly streamlined. And third, they built their own maintenance facility, cutting out all the expensive middlemen. So here's the crucial point. They took the A380's biggest weakness, its unique complexity, and turned it into a massive strength through standardization at scale.
And when you start to put all of these pieces together, that bold launch, seeing opportunity in crisis, the hub model, and that A380 formula, you get the global titan that we see today. The results of their A380 strategy are, well, they're just staggering. Right now, Emirates operates half of all the Airbus A380s in service. Across the entire planet, one airline, 50% of the whole global fleet. It's insane. And their dominance doesn't stop there. They are the world's largest operator of not just the A380, but also the Boeing 777. They're consistently ranked among the world's top 5 carriers by pretty much every metric that matters, having flown over 4 billion people since the late 90s. But you know, out of all these incredible statistics, this one might be the most telling of all: 0. That is the number of years in its entire history that Emirates has ever reported a financial loss, an unbroken streak of profitability from day one. From that small monthly rental agreement to absolute global domination, the story of Emirates is just this powerful reminder that sometimes the biggest threats can create the biggest opportunities. And it kind of leaves you wondering, what happens when an airline that was built to fight for survival runs out of rivals to beat?